Are you planning to visit the Windy City, Chicago? Before you do, here are the top 10 areas you must avoid for your safety. The beauty and allure of Chicago are undeniable with its towering skyscrapers, bustling streets, and vibrant cultural scene. Yet, like any urban metropolis, it has its share of areas that are less than ideal for tourists. It's not about painting a grim picture of the city, but rather about ensuring you can enjoy everything it has to offer while staying safe. In this video, we'll take you through 10 areas to avoid when visiting Chicago, or at least tread carefully when in them. These are based on factors like crime rates and socioeconomic conditions. It's all about making informed decisions while you're out and about exploring the city. So, buckle up and prepare for an insightful journey through the lesser-known aspects of Chicago. Now let's dive into the list and start with the first area. First on our list is West Garfield Park. As we journey through the Windy City, it's essential to take note of the areas that might not be as welcoming as others. West Garfield Park, unfortunately, falls into this category. Located on the city's west side, this neighborhood has a rich history and community spirit, but it also grapples with challenges that visitors should be aware of. The area has a higher-than-average crime rate, with incidents of violent crime being particularly concerning. This is not to say that every corner of West Garfield Park is dangerous, but as a traveler, it's always wise to understand the lay of the land before you embark on your journey. Knowledge, as they say, is power. West Garfield Park, like many urban neighborhoods, is a study in contrasts. While there is a strong sense of community and resilience, the area also faces socioeconomic struggles that contribute to its crime rate. This doesn't diminish the spirit of those who live there, but it does warrant a word of caution for those unfamiliar with the area. Visitors are advised to exercise caution, especially after dark, and to stay in well-lit, busy areas. It's also wise to keep your belongings secure and to avoid displaying expensive items openly. In the end, the goal isn't to deter you from exploring Chicago, but to ensure you do so with a keen sense of awareness. Remember, it's always better to be safe than sorry. Moving on to South Lawndale, also known as Little Village. While this predominantly Hispanic neighborhood boasts a vibrant cultural tapestry, it's worth noting that certain parts of it are not as rosy as they might seem. Now, don't get me wrong. The area is filled with rich traditions, mouth-watering cuisine, and colorful murals that tell stories of the people who call it home. But every coin has two sides, and Little Village is no exception. In certain parts of this neighborhood, the crime rates are a tad higher than the city's average. These incidents, often related to gang activities, have unfortunately cast a shadow on the otherwise vibrant community. The situation escalates especially after the sun goes down. The streets that bustled with life and laughter during the day transform into something else when night falls. The cloak of darkness seems to embolden the undesirable elements, making the neighborhood a bit riskier for unwary tourists. But remember, this doesn't define the entirety of South Lawndale. There are still parts of Little Village that are safe, and its cultural richness is worth experiencing. However, unless you're familiar with the ins and outs of the neighborhood, it's better to exercise caution. If possible, avoid venturing into unfamiliar parts, especially after dark. After all, safety should be your top priority while exploring new places. So it might be best to avoid this area, especially after dark. Next up is Englewood. Now, Englewood has a reputation that precedes it, and unfortunately, it's not a positive one. This neighborhood, located on the south side of Chicago, has been grappling with a series of challenges over the years, particularly in the realms of crime and socioeconomic issues. Let's delve a little deeper into these challenges. Crime, for instance, is a pressing concern in Englewood. The area has seen its fair share of criminal activities, which has led to a sense of unease among residents and visitors alike. This situation is amplified by the socioeconomic struggles that the neighborhood continues to face. Poverty, unemployment, and a lack of adequate resources have created a difficult environment for the people living here. The struggles Englewood has faced are complex and multifaceted, intertwining issues of crime and poverty, education and employment, safety and stability. These issues have not only affected the lives of the residents, but also the perception of the area as a whole, casting a shadow over the neighborhood that is hard to ignore. But But it's important to remember that every story has two sides. Englewood, despite its challenges, is also a place of resilience and strength, with individuals and organizations tirelessly working to improve conditions and bring about positive change. However, as a visitor, it's best to exercise caution. It's advised to avoid certain blocks in this area, especially after dark. It's always better to be safe than sorry when exploring new territories, and Englewood is no exception. Riverdale is another area to be cautious about. Tucked away on the far south side of Chicago, Riverdale has not been immune to the city's struggles. Like a number of neighborhoods in the Windy City, Riverdale has faced its fair share of difficulties, largely characterized by crime rates and economic decline. In recent years, Riverdale has been wrestling with these issues, making it a neighborhood that demands caution, particularly for those unfamiliar with the area. The crime rate, while it varies across the neighborhood, has been notably higher in certain parts, painting a picture that's far from the idyllic landscapes its name might suggest. But Riverdale isn't just a story of crime and struggle, it's also a tale of a neighborhood grappling with economic decline. The area has been hit hard by a lack of jobs and opportunities, leading to a vicious cycle of poverty that has proved difficult to break. This economic downturn has unfortunately contributed to the neighborhood's challenges, making it a less attractive destination for visitors seeking the vibrant culture and rich history that Chicago has to offer. However, it's always important to remember that neighborhoods are not defined solely by their struggles. Riverdale, like all neighborhoods, is home to a community of people, each with their own stories and experiences. And while it's necessary to exercise caution, it's also crucial to approach every place with an open mind and respect for its residents. Travelers, exercise caution while exploring this neighborhood. The fifth area on our list is Fuller Park. Now, this is a neighborhood with a rich history, but it has had its share of challenges over the years. Fuller Park, named after a former mayor of Chicago, has seen its fortunes fluctuate since its inception in the late 19th century. Today, it bears the brunt of some of the city's most pressing issues, crime and poverty being the most prominent. The neighborhood's struggle with crime is not a secret. It is a reality that the residents of Fuller Park have had to contend with on a daily basis. Unemployment and lack of opportunity have contributed to the rise in crime, making the area a less than ideal destination for visitors. Poverty, too, has left its mark on Fuller Park. The area has one of the highest rates of poverty in the city, which has led to a cycle of hardship for the residents. This has further exacerbated the crime situation, creating a vicious circle that the neighborhood has been fighting to break out of. But it's not all doom and gloom. Despite these challenges, the spirit of the community in Fuller Park shines through. The residents are resilient, and there are initiatives in place to bring about positive change. Yet, as a visitor, it's important to be aware of the realities of the area. While the neighborhood's rich history and resilient spirit are commendable, the challenges it faces are significant. Visitors should remain vigilant when exploring this neighborhood. Scene script. West Englewood is another neighborhood to keep in mind. Just like its neighboring district, Englewood, West Englewood has been grappling with its fair share of challenges. It's a neighborhood that has seen higher crime rates, and it's a situation that has unfortunately persisted over time. Now, it's essential to note that crime rates do not define a neighborhood entirely. West Englewood, like any other place, is home to hardworking folks, families, and businesses. However, it's the responsibility of any good guide to ensure you're well informed and safe during your travels. In West Englewood, it's advisable to be particularly cautious, especially during the later hours of the day. It's during these quieter, darker times that the neighborhood's challenges become more pronounced. It's not uncommon to hear about incidents that have taken place after the sun has set. That's not to say that there aren't parts of West Englewood that are safer than others, but as a visitor, it can be tough to distinguish which areas are which. So, as a rule of thumb, it's generally best to avoid the neighborhood, especially if you're unfamiliar with the city. Remember, the goal of travel is to experience new cultures, see new sights, and create beautiful memories. It's all about fun, exploration, and safety. And while West Englewood is a part of Chicago's tapestry, it's an area where you might need to exercise more caution. Tourists are advised to avoid certain areas in this neighborhood. Next on our list is South Shore. This part of Chicago is a mixed bag. It's a neighborhood that has pockets of relative safety, but also areas that are best avoided. South Shore is a place of contrasts. It's a place where beautiful architecture and rich history meet socio-economic challenges and crime. It's the kind of neighborhood that can lull you into a sense of security with its scenic lakefront views and charming bungalows, but it pays to know where you're going and stay alert. The southern portions of South Shore are the areas of most concern. These areas have seen higher rates of crime, and it's advisable for visitors to be cautious. Always be aware of your surroundings, especially if you find yourself in unfamiliar territory, but let's not paint the entire neighborhood with a broad brush. There are parts of South Shore that can be safely enjoyed, especially during the day. The key is to do your research, stay informed, and exercise caution. Crime rates fluctuate, and neighborhoods change over time. Today's troubled areas could be tomorrow's up-and-coming hotspots. It's always wise to get the most current information before you visit. Keep in mind that while some parts of South Shore are relatively safe, others are not. So, as you plan your trip to the Windy City, remember to stay informed, stay alert, and enjoy everything that Chicago has to offer. Washington Park, don't be fooled by the name. Just like a rose with thorns, this beautiful green space conceals a prickly truth. A truth that lies not within the park's scenic boundaries, but in the surrounding neighborhood that shares its name. Washington Park, the neighborhood, has had its share of struggles, particularly in the realm of crime. Its history bears the weight of incidents that have unfortunately marred its reputation over time. From petty theft to more serious offenses, the challenges faced by this area are not to be taken lightly. However, it's important to emphasize that crime isn't the totality of Washington Park's story. It's one of Chicago's oldest communities with a deep-rooted history and a rich cultural tapestry. But as is often the case, the darker threads can sometimes overshadow the brighter ones. The park itself, a beautiful oasis of tranquility, beckons visitors with its lush greenery and serene landscapes. It's a stark contrast to the neighborhood that surrounds it, a paradox that can be both intriguing and disconcerting. While the park offers a breath of fresh air amid the city's hustle and bustle, caution is key when stepping beyond its boundaries. As with any urban area, it's always wise to be aware of your surroundings, to stay vigilant, and to prioritize safety above all else. So remember, though the park itself is a beautiful green space, the surrounding area can be dangerous. Washington Park, a name that carries both beauty and caution in its resonance. Roseland is another area to be cautious about. A neighborhood located on Chicago's far south side, Roseland has had its fair share of challenges. Once a thriving community, Roseland has experienced a significant economic decline over the years. This downturn has had a ripple effect, leading to a rise in unemployment and poverty rates. The once bustling commercial corridors now bear witness to a series of closed businesses and derelict buildings. This economic decline has unfortunately paved the way for an increase in crime rates. The crime in Roseland varies from petty theft to more serious offenses. It's not uncommon to hear about instances of burglary, car theft, and even violent crime. This has led to a sense of unease among residents and visitors alike. The local authorities and community organizations are making commendable efforts to combat these issues, with initiatives aimed at economic revival and crime reduction. However, it's a long road to recovery, and the neighborhood still has a way to go before it regains its former glory. Despite these challenges, Roseland is home to resilient residents who are hopeful for a brighter future. It's a testament to the human spirit, a neighborhood striving to overcome adversity. There are also pockets of Roseland that are safer than others, and it's not entirely off the tourist map. But it's always better to err on the side of caution. So if Roseland features in your travel itinerary, it's important to stay vigilant and be aware of your surroundings at all times. Caution is recommended for visitors to this area. Last on our list is Humboldt Park. Nestled in the heart of Chicago, Humboldt Park has a rich tapestry of history and culture. However, it's also a place that has seen its fair share of challenges. As we delve into the complexities of Humboldt Park, it's important to note that not all areas of this neighborhood share the same story. There are sections that shimmer with cultural richness, where Puerto Rican heritage is proudly displayed through murals, festivals, and the vibrant Paseo Boricua. These areas are a testament to the community's resilience and spirit. But the neighborhood's narrative isn't without its darker shades. Certain sections of Humboldt Park have witnessed struggles with crime. This, unfortunately, has painted a less than favorable picture for some parts of the neighborhood. Now, it's not to say that the entire Humboldt Park should be avoided. Quite the contrary. However, it's advisable to stay vigilant and aware of your surroundings, especially if you're venturing into the less frequented parts of the neighborhood. Humboldt Park, like any urban area, has its own share of issues, but it's also a place where community thrives amidst adversity, where art and culture bloom amidst concrete, and where history is etched in every corner. While parts of Humboldt Park are safe and culturally rich, there are sections that you should avoid. But don't let that deter you from experiencing the neighborhood's unique charm. Just tread with caution and respect for the local community. And there you have it, folks. We've embarked on a journey through Chicago, exploring neighborhoods that may be best to steer clear from while visiting, from the West Garfield Park, grappling with high crime rates, to South Lawndale, known for its gang-related activities. Englewood and West Englewood have their share of challenges too, including socio-economic issues and crime. Riverdale and Fuller Park, with their struggles with crime and economic decline, require visitors to exercise caution. Even the southern portions of the otherwise safe South Shore and some sections of the culturally rich Humboldt Park face challenges related to crime. Washington Park, while a splendid green space, has surrounding areas with crime-related issues. Lastly, Roseland, on the far south side, is grappling with economic decline and crime, making it a less ideal area for tourists. Remember, knowledge is power. Stay safe and enjoy your visit to the beautiful city of Chicago.